Have you ever seen a K-drama start with a kiss worthy of a season finale? That's exactly what Dynamite Kiss did in episode 1, and it completely divided the audience. Some call it a revolution, others call it heresy against the sacred storytelling model adopted by K-dramas for decades. Today, we're going to understand why this kiss became the most unexpected controversy of South Korean shows in 2025. If there's something that makes K-drama fans go crazy, stay up all night binge-watching, and stay hooked until the end, it's the slow burn construction of the story. This isn't just a screenwriting trick, it's a commandment. It's that turtle-paced rhythm, almost painful, where each sidelong glance, each dragged-out silence, and each hand touch, like brushing against the office desk or sharing an umbrella, becomes an event in the story. It's the recipe that created the greatest classics, generated entire communities of shippers, and deep down, defined the way Korean romance is made worldwide. The thing is the slow build, the emotional stumbles that create agony, the lightly resolved relationship discussions with chemistry that only grows, and the silent promise that, at some key point, usually around episode 8, 10, or at the maximum patience test by 14, the kiss, or more importantly, the moment when the two admit they like each other, will finally happen. And when this climax of affection explodes on screen, it's not just a kiss. It's catharsis, relief, the reward for 12 hours of waiting, as if the entire drama only existed to justify that 1 second. The slowness is almost our emotional contract. This structure isn't just tradition for fans, it's the ultimate expectation. The audience doesn't watch. They enter the drama knowing there's a game of patience ahead. We want the tension of waiting. We need to feel that the couple struggled, overcame their own ghosts, grew alone, and, only then, reached the physical happy ending of love. The key here is, the kiss is seen as the prize of the journey, the reward. The pleasure isn't just in the kiss itself, but in the entire path leading to it. It's what separates Korean romance from the rush and immediate kiss of romances from abroad. It's what allows fans to say, I felt every second of that agony, or I lived through that struggle with them. To show you the strength of this rule, huge dramas like Business Proposal, Crash Landing on You and Her Private Life followed this to the letter, and were loved precisely for honoring the agreement. But Dynamite Kiss broke this pact. Dynamite Kiss arrived, and shockingly, decided to drop the kiss right in episode 1. The impact of this decision is brutal. It's as if they had cut, with a knife, about 3 to 5 entire episodes of atmosphere building, character development, and narrative struggle. The instant feeling for the most traditional fans is one of betrayal. What do you mean they already made out? Where's the tension? Where's the preparation? What am I going to watch now? The issue isn't whether Dynamite Kiss is right or wrong in its rush. The central point is that the series messed with the most untouchable, most sacred rule of the Korean romantic comedy genre. Dynamite Kiss didn't make a mistake by speeding up. It made a provocation. It kicked over the bucket of conventions. It took the audience out of their comfort zone. And any provocation of this size in the world of K-dramas has a guaranteed result. It generates gossip, generates heated discussion on the internet, fills social media with debate, and in the end, generates hype. The question that remains is whether the series will manage to maintain interest in the remaining 15 episodes, since the prize was delivered at the starting line, or if they'll have to change the entire tension strategy beyond the kiss. What was the peak in the middle of the series is now the starting point, and it's this uncertainty that keeps the fan community in turmoil. But the shock doesn't stop there. The way this kiss is constructed within the narrative is what really makes fans argue. It emerges in the middle of a chaotic and ethically questionable situation. Protagonist Go Darim is pretending to be married and a mother to get a job, a heavy lie that becomes the engine of almost all the initial conflicts. And the kiss happens precisely during this phase of confused identities, where protagonist Gong Ji-hyuk still believes she's a committed woman. This adds a spice that many considered bold, while others saw it as irresponsible and uncomfortable. Additionally, the drama accelerates several classic plots of the genre that normally develop over 4 or 5 episodes. The accidental meeting, the misunderstanding, the involuntary touch, the initial jealousy, the forced proximity. In Dynamite Kiss, all of this happens almost in sequence, as if the script was pressing the skip introduction button. And for some fans, this was exactly the charm. A romantic comedy that's fast, direct, hot, no beating around the bush. For others, it was the opposite, a feeling that the drama was in too much of a hurry to make the couple happen. But the most interesting thing is that the drama doesn't deliver this kiss as just any moment. It's treated as a real emotional milestone. It comes back in the characters' heads, influences their actions, creates immediate and constant tension. What would normally be built over entire episodes here happens in minutes. Physical attraction, emotional shock, ethical doubt, and repressed desire. And that's precisely what transforms the episode 1 kiss into controversy. Because Dynamite Kiss didn't just change when this moment happens. It changed how it functions within the narrative. By accelerating the romance and fitting the kiss into a morally gray context, the drama creates a totally different dynamic. Fast, unpredictable, full of risks, full of consequences. A path that deviates from traditional rules and makes the audience ask, was this actually good or simply too rushed? The truth is, there's a huge debate happening among longtime drama fans. The feeling that, since Netflix really entered the Asian market, many scripts have started to suffer a deep Westernization. It's not an exaggeration, it's a structural change. It's as if part of the traditional charm was being remodeled to fit into a more direct, faster-paced format, and, mainly, more geared toward binge-watching than that classic experience of following episode by episode, week after week. And Dynamite Kiss is a pure reflection of this phenomenon. The elements are all there: fast pace, romance that catches fire early, conflicts presented without that layer of emotional subtlety that Koreans have always mastered. Instead of building the couple over 6 or 8 episodes, the script already delivers chemistry, tension, and even a kiss right away, something unthinkable a few years ago in a traditional Korean rom-com. And this doesn't just happen here. It's been a growing trend in productions that arrive through Netflix, partner platforms, or international co-productions. For many fans, this movement is worrying. They feel that doramas are losing their identity, becoming too similar to Western romantic series, which usually bet on much more physical scenes and more obvious conflicts. The famous Asian visual poetry, the silences loaded with meaning, the care with each gesture, each breath, each micro approach, all of this starts to be replaced by a more direct narrative designed to not let the viewer pause, leave, go to another tab. The logic now is to hook, shock, and deliver quick rewards. But for other viewers, this change is welcome. They say that Korea is simply evolving, keeping up with global consumption and creating series that dialogue with a broad audience. They argue that it doesn't make sense to maintain old formulas when the world is in full streaming mode, accustomed to devouring entire seasons at once. The controversy is born exactly from this division. On one side, fans who want to preserve the essence of doramas, that delicate, emotional, and symbolic style that made the genre a worldwide phenomenon. On the other side, fans who see in Westernization a natural step, almost inevitable, to compete with the gigantic catalog of foreign romances. Dynamite Kiss ends up becoming an example of this cultural dispute. For some, it's refreshing. For others, it's a symptom of a market that's losing its soul day by day. And in the middle of this crossfire, the question hangs in the air. Are we seeing an evolution, or are we seeing the end of an era? After following all this discussion around Dynamite Kiss and the supposed Westernization of doramas, I need to say something that maybe many people don't have the courage to admit. We're living through an inevitable transition, and like all change, it scares, bothers, and messes with what we believe to be right. But at the same time, it opens space for new stories, new formats, and a totally different way of feeling romance on screen. I grew up, like many of you, loving that slow, almost meditative pace, where each look had weight, each silence held a confession, each approach seemed like a small emotional earthquake. And honestly, I still find that beautiful. I still love it when a dorama makes me wait, when it carries me by the hand until the moment the kiss finally happens. For me, this continues to be part of Korean identity, that unique sensitivity that conquered the world without needing to appeal to Western formulas. But it's also true that today's audience has changed. The platforms have changed. Habits have changed. Netflix didn't invent this revolution, but it accelerated everything. It realized that the modern viewer doesn't want to wait until halfway through the season to feel something. They want impact. They want intensity. They want reasons to click on the next episode immediately. And if I'm completely honest, I understand that side too. We live at such a fast pace that sometimes a romance that drags on for 10 chapters seems like a luxury not everyone has. So where does Dynamite Kiss fit into this story? For me, it symbolizes exactly this tension between the old and the new. It's a work that isn't afraid to poke at traditions, that takes risks, that plays with formulas, that tests the audience. And even if you don't like the choices, it's impossible to deny that the drama stirred up conversation, debate, curiosity, hype, and that, in the end, is what keeps a genre alive. The truth is simple. Doramas are changing, but they're not dying. They're breathing a different air. Some will follow this more westernized line, others will maintain the classic charm, and some will find a middle ground that pleases everyone. And maybe that's the most beautiful thing. There's space for everything. There's space for the kiss at the beginning and for the kiss only at the end. There's space for accelerated chaos and for the delicate romance that takes an eternity to happen. In the end, what really matters is what we feel while watching. If a story touches the heart, if it makes us smile, cry, or root for someone, then it matters little whether it's traditional or modern. Doramas are, above all, about emotion. And as long as there's emotion, there'll be a reason to keep watching, whether in the classic Korea of the past or in the globalized Korea of today. But what about you? What do you think? Leave your opinion here in the comments. Let's continue this debate. That's all for today. Until the next video.